Hey everybody, how we doing? It's Keenan Jerome Floyd with another episode of Dangerously Awkward. Thanks for tuning in. There's a question that I've been asked a lot lately, and I want to address it in this episode. Do all religions lead to God? If you want to know what I think, sit back and relax and enjoy this episode of Dangerously Awkward. Hello, everybody. How are you? How you feeling? Happy Lent to all you heathens out there. I'm celebrating Ash Wednesday the best way I know how, by not using lotion. I have ashy knuckles, so I'm doing my part. If you're tuning into this video for the first time and you haven't already, please like and subscribe this channel and hit the little bell to get notifications when new videos are up. If you want to share this with anybody, the name of this channel is KJF Network. Also, follow me on Instagram at Dangerously Awkward. I got lots of cool videos and stuff that are going to be coming out soon. Lots of projects that I like to keep people updated on. And, if I have any shows or anything else I want to share, you can keep up with me on my social media. So, this episode is going to be interesting because I'm talking about something that's been a big part of my life for more than 30 years, and that is religion. A lot of people ask questions: do all religions lead to God? There's thousands, maybe even millions of different type of religions and denominations in the world, and all of them think they're right. I don't know. That's basically what I can say. That I can talk from my personal experience. I'm not a religious person, and the reason is because I feel that religion kind of ruins God, if that makes any sense. And people, they've actually asked me, they said, well, Keenan, what does God have to do with religion? Well, if you've ever been religious, everything religious has to do with God. That's basically how they get their followers to follow their rules, because they make us think that their rules come straight from the big man upstairs. It's actually a very smart sales tactic to get people to do what they want, what you want. Like, for example, if you're working at a company and someone comes up to you and they say, hey, could you change the what do you call it, the water bottle or whatever by the water cooler? You say, fuck you. Who gives you the authority to tell me to change the water bottle in the water cooler? Well, the big man upstairs told me that I should tell you. I mean, you don't know. You've never met the CEO of the company, but you don't. What's going to hurt switching the water bottle out? So, I mean, people when they're unsure, they're unknown, they don't know what their future holds for them. It makes people very paranoid about what they're doing is right or wrong. And that's how I felt when I was involved in the church. I actually grew up Jehovah's Witness. I spent 30 years of my life Jehovah's Witness. I was born in. My family's Jehovah's Witness. I got baptized in the faith when I was about 12 or 13 years old. When I was 19, I became a missionary. I moved to the Dominican Republic. I was there for 10 years. There, I was actually appointed an elder in the congregation, which means I was like a pastor in this congregation, which I don't know how the fuck that happened. And I eventually broke the rules. Then I ended up getting kicked out, and now here we are today. I live in Los Angeles. But when we talk about a lot of religion has a lot of power in people's lives. And it almost seems like that when people become religious, most people that have become religious, in my opinion, are most people that have never had power in their life before. When I became an elder in my church, it was kind of like that was the most power I had ever had in my life up until that point. So it does go to your head. It does make you a little arrogant. And you're convinced that the instruction that you've received that you're supposed to relay to the congregation comes directly from God. So when you talk to people and say, well, this information comes directly from you know who, of course they wanna be on the right side of history. So it gives the people that are in charge kind of big heads because, who wants to be friends with God himself? And what's interesting about that is you can never really, the way it works and how it like messes with people psychologically is that everything good that happens to you came from God, but everything bad that you do is your fault. So you try not to do the bad stuff, which, I mean, let's be frank about it. If you believe that we are created by a higher power, the question is, how come we're created with inclinations that could be construed as sinful? If that makes any sense. If you look at animals in nature, like, they follow their natural instincts, right? Animals kill, they defend, they mate, they take care of their young, they migrate and all that stuff just based on a natural intuition that they have. So they do everything that their natural instinct is telling them to do. On the other hand, humans are the only beings on the planet where we have to fight against our natural inclinations. Why? Because there's laws that prevent us from doing that, and also there's rules based on a morality that we're supposed to follow. And that's what religion basically is about. Like to me, religion is just a bunch of man-made rules that are being told in the preference that came from God. So you're supposed to go against what you naturally feel. Like, for example, if God wanted us to not have sex, how come he made women to look so good? I'm just asking. And there's women out there that know they look good. So they make clothes that insinuate how good they look. Exactly. Exactly. That's my roommate was shaking her butt over there. That's exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, it's like I see that and I'm like, oh, the natural part of me says I want that. But the religious part of me says, oh no, crisscross, Satan, get out of here, behind me or whatever. It just seems strange with all the problems that are going on in the world, with all the wars, with all the children, the racism, the people getting killed, the sex trafficking. You care about what I'm doing in the shower. That don't make sense. And then for some reason, the Lord needs 10% of my income. What is he, an agent? Tell me how logical this stuff is. And if you can't do it, then you end up, they end up guilt tripping you. I don't know if you guys, there was this one incident, I forgot what state it was in, but there was actually a pastor who required that his members gave him a minimum of $3,000 for their tithes. $3,000. They revolted against him. They nearly burned that church down. They got into it was a world star hip hop moment when he said, "Oh, you guys give me 3,000 a minute." No, they almost beat the crap out of him in the name of the Lord. So we have to admit that it's like there's some people that are they're still human, corruptible with power. So I mean, if you are going to a church where you're trying to get closer to God and you end up seeing that, you say, well, this is supposedly a man of God, but look how he's treating all the people in the church. Look how he's treating God's people. It kind of like messes with your relationship with the higher power. I don't know. I don't know. That's just what I've been thinking. I've been thinking lately. My experience is interesting in the sense that I like I said, I was born in, and there was a lot of rules. There was a lot of different rules that I tried following. I mean, I tried my best. I did. But it just became a lot. You know what I mean? It became a lot. Every time I thought I was doing something right, ended up doing something wrong, or there's a lot of pressure. I was a single guy too. I was fairly handsome back then. I had hair and shit. I wore suits. I had muscles. And I was also really obnoxious as well. I don't know if that's really, I'm kind of telling on myself a little bit. But it was a lot of, I was worried about what other people thought of me, which is supposedly not the way it's supposed to be. Supposedly, it's supposed to be that we do things because we want to make God happy. But how come I'm getting worried that I'm going to get fired from my job in the church? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just think as human beings, we have this innate desire to worship something, whether we're religious or not. Whether you're agnostic or atheist, we're always trying to worship something. Like, you see that all the time. I mean, people, if they're not trying to worship a religious deity, they're either worshiping some type of political figure, celebrity, their sexuality, their race, a movie franchise. I mean, the lists are endless. There's always something that people try to follow to a T that kind of, when you're not religious, replaces the church. Like, for example, people that are like Star Wars fans or whatever, right? They follow the movies and they dress up like the characters, and then they have the books that they call canon. So, like, if the movie or something doesn't follow the canon that's written down in the book, then they flip out because they're like, oh, you're not following the way the things are supposed to be. Our great Lord and Savior George Lucas wrote these things to be this way. You're going against it and blah, blah, blah. You blasphemous nerf herder or whatever the fuck. Like, people are obsessed with things that make them feel good. And the same thing in religion. A lot of things in religion is emotional and mental manipulation. And we see that in the media. Movies, people love movies because it makes them feel good, right? We are obsessed with celebrities. Because when we see celebrities, those are the people that we think we want to be. Like, everyone wants to be Beyonce for some reason. Beyonce's out here telling all these women it's okay to be single, kick all these good-for-nothing men to the curb and all that stuff. But Beyonce goes home to a $500 million house, 3 kids, and a husband. Like, it's like it's calculated. Like, her brand is independent woman. She is independent. She's made her own money. But she's like, you think I'm going to be out here in these streets single like y'all? I ain't no sucker. And then she went and did her thing. But that's the brand that she's selling. The Kardashians, as people are obsessed with the Kardashians, supposed to feel sad for Khloe because what's his face cheated on her with a black woman. By the way, good job, Jordan Woods. You saved Black History Month. It was really tough by getting a black man to leave a Kardashian. Thank you very much. Anyway, people, for some reason, they want to be these women. And the question is, what have they done to justify this type of worship? We even worship ourselves. That's the whole point of Instagram. The Oscars. The Oscars is like watching a Joel Osteen Uber festival. Like, it's the creme de la creme of celebrity worship. And people clap and cheer when these celebrities are congratulating themselves. Like, they give a fuck about us. Mankind, we want to worship something. And a lot of times we want to be worshipped. We do. We want to be worshipped. There's this instinct that we have to either be worshipped or to worship something. I don't know. I'm still trying to get fans. So, have you guys seen the R. Kelly interview? That stuff was crazy. That R. Kelly interview was kind of that R. Kelly interview was look, if we want to talk about R. Kelly, now I didn't watch the documentary on Lifetime. I only saw snippets of the interview. But what I can ascertain from this whole situation is R. Kelly is a victim. Okay. He's a victim of his environment. However, he's reaping what he sowed. Right? They claim that R. Kelly was molested by his sister or half-sister or whatever. So that kind of like, it fucked up his head. It fucked up his thinking. And there's plenty of people in the world that have gone through similar situations like that don't turn that dark. So what happens when you have a man that's emotionally unstable, rather. I'm sorry, I sound dumb. Emotionally unstable, and you give him that much power. You get R. Kelly. Now he's up against a wall. He's reaping what he sowed, right? His experience made him hate women, bar none. That's just what happened to him. He feels that women are beneath him. You can tell in the interview that he had with Gayle King when he was crying and he stood up. The only reason he didn't slap her was because the cameras were on. Like you could just tell in his body language. You can tell in the way he was talking, because the beginning of the interview started. He was cool and collected. He was like, "Yo," talking about himself in the third person. "Yo, you think R. Kelly would do that? You think R. Kelly would do that type of thing?" As soon as Gayle King said Robert, he stood up and went WWE in that room. Like, it got crazy. But like the story, it's stuff that we're not talking about. There's things that we're not talking about in situations like that. Like, for example, the environment that he grew up in, because it's cause and effect. Something caused some trauma in his life, and this is the effect. And now he's causing trauma in other people's lives. And then they went on and they interviewed some of the girls, and some of the girls were like, "Oh yeah, my parents told me to lie about my age. And he ended up giving money to my parents so I could stay with." Like, they interviewed two girls, and they were both his girlfriends. And they say, yeah, he gave my parents money that I could stay with him. So somehow he's paying these girls' parents so that they could stay at his house. Like, what kind of world are we living in where this is even happening? And people say, well, he got off before because, but the law allowed people to own people and kill people back in the day. Like, the law, just because the national law says you can do something doesn't mean that's morally right. This whole story just goes to show how much people want to worship. They want to worship people. Either they want to worship money, either they want to worship celebrity, or either they want to worship themselves. People are willing to sacrifice even their own children for worship. The satisfaction of being accepted by those that they want to worship. It's I mean, the system waits to take celebrities down when they're down anyway. Like, for example, you think about the three, Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, and R. Kelly. No one was fucking with the Cosby Show, Fat Albert picture pages Bill Cosby. There was no way you were touching that dude. The Jello Plum Pop selling Bill Cosby. No one was going to take him down. They had to wait until he was like 80 years old, sitting in his house, half blind, just chilling to take him down. No one was fucking with the Thriller Michael Jackson, the bad album, the dangerous Free Willy soundtrack, Super Bowl Michael Jackson, Pepsi Michael Jackson. No one was fucking with that dude. They had to wait till he's dead. R. Kelly, no one was fucking with Step in the Name of Love, I Believe I Can Fly, Gotham City. You guys remember that song Gotham City from Batman and Robin, the movie Batman and Robin? R. Kelly did that song, Gotham City. Space Jam, R. Kelly. No one was fucking with that guy, with that R. Kelly. For those of you that don't know, R. Kelly has been the soundtrack of many black events. Wedding receptions, black family reunions, Black Lives Matter rallies. R. Kelly has been there with the chocolate drop step, or whatever you call it. But now they're fucking with Robert Kelly when he's not banging out any hits. I don't know what he was waiting around for Space Jam 2 to come out. I don't know what's really going on. And I know some people are going to say, look, the law is against black men. How come only black men are getting caught in the Me Too movement? I agree with you. I agree with you that there's a lot of white men that have been convicted as pedophiles that need to be taken down and they need to go to jail. They all need to go to jail. However, knowing that the system is against us as black men, knowing that there's a bias against us, why would you do something stupid? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard enough. It's hard enough for us to have our day in court. Now you're going to do something stupid. Now you're going to have 100 girls in your basement running some type of fucked up sex call. And on top of that, you're not going to pay $161,000 in child support. You brought that on to yourself. There's 12-year-old boys being arrested for selling CDs in malls. And you running around here not paying $161,000 child support and having girls in your house for sex slaves. It doesn't make sense. You're a dummy, R. Kelly. Sitting up there in the interview talk about it wasn't me. Who the fuck you think you are, Shaggy? It's crazy. So yeah, we want to worship. We want to worship. There's people are willing to sacrifice for something they believe in. Like, I bet you that if tomorrow I said, all right, everyone, if you want to get, I'll give you $15 million to stick your fingers up your butt and walk around with stinky fingers for 5 days. For 5 days, you have to walk around with stinky fingers. I bet you I could get people to do it. Then I turn that money into something called salvation. And I say, if you guys want to have salvation, if you want to live forever, if you don't want to die, if you don't want to be destroyed in a fiery furnace, you got to stick your finger in your butt and walk around for 5 days with stinky fingers. And in 100 years, we will have Keenan's Witnesses. The religion of stinky fingers. That's how easy it is to start a religion. By the way, I do believe in God. One of the main reasons I believe in God is because the earth has not spun into the sun yet. With all the nuclear weapons that we have on this planet, we haven't wiped ourselves off the face of the earth. Our heart and our lungs still function without us having to think about it 24 hours a day, 24/7. Up to 100 years is keeping us alive. So I think there's a higher power that created us to his design. there's problems in the world, but we don't live in a chaotic world. Everything, despite the dumb shit that we do as humans, everything still functions on this planet to keep us alive. So that's the reason I believe in a higher power. I just don't believe in giving 10% of my shit to a dude who's just like me. I wasn't a very good elder. I was preaching to people about the Bible and fucking bitches. That's the reason why I'm not in the church anymore. So, on that note, thank you for joining me for this episode of Dangerously Awkward. Again, just give a like and a subscribe and hit the little button so you can know when the little bell button so you know when videos are coming up. Follow me on Instagram at Dangerously Awkward. Also, got some shows coming up. You can check them out on www.kidneyjeromefoy.com. I got one in Riverside at Studio 3 on Sunday. It starts at 8 o'clock. If you want to come out and join that. I'm going to be hosting a monthly show called Dangerously Awkward Comedy at the Press. The first show is going to be March 24th at the Press in Claremont, California. For more information, you can check out my website, www.kidneyjeromefloyd.com. I've been Kenan Jerome Floyd. Thank you for joining me. Y'all have a good one.